went to St Martin's College to do my youth and community work degree, and as part of the course we were learning about children in other countries, and I decided when I was there that I'd like to go and do some volunteering. I did originally want to go to Guatemala, but when I was researching on the internet, I found that there were volunteering opportunities in Brazil, and I ended up applying to a company in Brazil and spending roughly, I think it was about 6 weeks in Rio and in a place which I can't remember what it was called, but it was about 90 miles away from Rio. So I worked with different children who'd lived on the streets and they'd been kind of rescued, and so in Rio itself it was working with toddlers and older, say junior age children, also teenage mums and their babies, and then on the farm that was with teenage boys. So the majority of the time I spent on the farm, and some of the time though in Rio, and I met other volunteers and went out with them as well, so really good. Nobody knew one another and you had to kind of make friends, so it's good for you as a person, I think, because you have to learn like give and take, and you're meeting people who've got different points of view than you, and that's all good, I think, personally. I had difficulty with the language, definitely, because it's Portuguese, what they speak in Brazil, but it's Brazilian Portuguese as opposed to European Portuguese. Not that I can speak that either. When I was actually working on the farm, some of the staff could speak a little English. I couldn't speak Portuguese at all. Some of the boys, because they were like 14, 15-year-olds, some of them could actually speak some English, but it was very, very difficult. And even if I used a dictionary to try to translate, my pronunciation of the language wasn't correct most of the time. So a lot of the things that I did had to be done with sign language, you know, like, so that were difficult. So if there were other of the volunteers there, sometimes there was another one besides me, they could, because they'd spent longer there, some of them had been volunteering for like up to a year, so they could speak the language, and that was much more helpful. So I was limited in the activities that I could do with young people, simply because I couldn't explain things. So I used to take them to football and stuff like that, teach them chess and different games, and it is surprising what you can do, even though you can't speak someone's language, but it was really hard. Whereas when I were in Rio, there were more volunteers there, so that was easier, you know, to have conversations as well. Near the farm there was like a big sort of like a pool, and we used to go, me and another volunteer would take all the boys swimming, and they used to do things like fill up big empty pot bottles, and they used to sit on them and use them to make a water slide, and they were just so creative because they didn't have a lot, so they had to be creative. That were a really good memory. And then in Rio itself, because I was there for New Year and Christmas, that was so lovely. All the little children all getting presents, and the big ones as well. The children from the farm came, and there'd been donations, and they all got gifts, and Father Christmas came, and that were just so lovely, because the children in the UK, that I know anyway, seem to get so much, and the children in Brazil were just used to getting so little but being so pleased with what they received. I really, really did enjoy it, and I'd love to do volunteering again, but I would choose somewhere where people could speak English simply because I just don't pick up languages very good, and it was such a barrier. And when I thought afterwards the things that I could have done with those children, because I do work with teenagers now, and I just couldn't do it simply because of that.